everyone. Welcome to the Quantum Bridge. Another episode here and another new guest for us. So, Casper, maybe you'd like to introduce our guest for today, please.
Yeah, don't be doing any spoilers.
No?
Anyway,
Almost.
hello.
Almost. Yeah, I was like, oh, not too
Nice
early.
to see you. And the guest isn't my cat, although my cat is here, as always. Seems to be, so BB's there. Yeah, we're fortunate enough to be joined by another guest all the way from the States. Obviously, I'll let him go into that more. But yeah, firstly, start by saying, welcome, Tony. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me. It's nice that we're finally able to do this. I know we had to reschedule a few times because of my work, but I'm really glad to be here.
It's always,
that's really kind of you. Yeah.
We always have the Matrix 3D jobs to work around, so you know, we haven't quite escaped those yet.
Yeah, I wish I could.
Oh yeah, well yeah, don't we all? Yeah.
Yeah, we're working on it, aren't we? We're all working on manifesting a slightly different reality. So
yeah, for sure.
But anyway, so yeah, we're fortunate enough to have Tony with us today. Tony actually has his own podcast, and given that his appears to be quite new and ours isn't exactly old either, we thought we might share a discussion around sort of what it's been like for us, obviously what it's been like with Tony with his The Melted broadcast, and hopefully also maybe inspire some other people either to run away from the whole idea completely, or maybe some people might decide that they want to do their own thing, because there's plenty of room in this world for many, many voices. So, yeah, Tony, can you just tell us sort of a bit of background about your own show and particularly about yourself? And then we can talk about, you know, maybe those differences or those similarities in the journey we're all having.
Okay, so I mean, I've always been interested into the paranormal and the fringe, especially you know, Egyptology. For some reason, I was just always attracted to it. Even as a kid, I see something on TV dealing, you know, with Egypt or you know the forbidden knowledge, and I could just sit there for hours and just watch it. And I know my ex-wife, she used to hate it. She's like, "Why are you watching this stuff? It's so boring." I'm like, "It's not. You don't get it." So I mean, I've always been attracted to it, and before I started this podcast, so I would always listen to different podcasts on all these subjects. The main one, Faith to Black with Jimmy Church,
Right.
and probably for like the past 10 years, and you know, I would sit there and just listen to all the interviews and just think to myself like, man, you know, it'd be so cool if one day, you know, like what if that was me interviewing these people and all that. And I actually tried to start this maybe about 4 years ago, and it just didn't happen for me. And
Right.
you know, and then you know, this time I've only been operating for about maybe 4 months, which you know I'm now going into season 2 of the Melted broadcast, and man, it's for me it was like I have to go all or nothing. So you know, I put a bunch of money into the equipment, getting everything situated. You know, really taking my time to try to develop the stuff that I've put out already, and now I'm here, and
Yeah.
I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, yeah, we know that this is something you can't do half-heartedly. And it's funny, you mentioned that thing about trying 4 years ago, and I'm sure this will resonate with Gary as well, that you have to do this at a time when you sort of feel supported. There's an element of the universe supporting you, maybe a bit of good luck, some
Yeah.
things you sort of gel. Because without that, without a bit of good fortune, doesn't matter how much hard work you do, there it feels like you need to have something carrying you forward. Have you felt a bit more charmed, a bit more like the stars have aligned a bit more this time?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Especially with all the support, the support I've been getting from everybody. Even you guys. You know, I always see that you guys are liking my stuff, and I appreciate every like, every every repost. You know, all that matters. You know, especially the people that I'm interviewing. You know, to get their story out, and what they're trying to present to the people to, you know, either to help somebody, you know, raise their awareness, to reach their higher selves, or just to open people's minds.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we've got a lot in common in that. Okay, we're based in the UK, and you're based obviously out of the states out there in Texas, and yet what you're doing, giving a platform to people, because I listen to your shows and I really enjoy them, and a
Appreciate
lot
that.
of that enjoyment also comes from the fact that you guys you're always very willing to let your guest speak, which is something I can really learn from. But you're very good at giving a platform, and that certainly is at least our intention. That the shows were never about Gary or myself; they were always about giving other people who may not have had a voice or may not have got to the same audience or a bigger audience a chance to do that. How do you feel about that? Is that really your mission, or do you see your mission as something slightly different,
Oh
Tony?
no, absolutely. Just like you said, uh, you know, I wanted to make this the Melted Broadcast a safe platform for people to come on to tell their story. Not so much me like interviewing them the whole time, but just for them to sit there and just you know tell everybody their story. And of course, I might have some questions here and there, but I wanted it to be a safe platform. Where there'd be no judgment. I'm not here interrogating them. I'm here to let them tell their story so everybody could hear it. And even people that eventually, if they want to come to me and give me the opportunity to use my platform for them. I mean, this is a safe place, and I mean, it's here. It's not just my platform. It's everybody's platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels very non-judgmental when you've got people on, and obviously we have people talking about all massive range of subjects, but you obviously a lot of it is in this more sort of paranormal and highly esoteric areas, and
Yeah.
it's very it's very sincere the way that you treat your guests, and that will encourage more and more people to come on. Just jumping back for a second about Gary and I started this about a year ago with the help of Gary's brother, Gary's wife, and a whole host of sort of friends and family supporting us very heavily, my own family obviously included. And it really took ages to get any traction with things like likes or subscribers or, even
Yeah.
just putting out the videos, right? So if you go back to 4 months ago when you were starting this again, and I know you're still in that process, were you really disheartened at the beginning, or was it immediately much easier this time? How, because it's not easy. You occasionally you get
Yeah.
really a nice video with a lot of likes and a lot of views, and then the next
Yeah.
two videos you put out, they might be just as beautiful and wonderful pieces of work, and yet they get almost no traction. How are you emotionally, Tony, coping with all of that?
Yeah. I mean, now it's different now. I mean, I remember whenever I first started out with the first episode, um, Mary was actually interviewing me, and I was giving an account that happened to me. The
Yeah,
episode's called "The Whisper Lady,"
yeah,
and I was just like, I didn't even have a microphone. I borrowed the microphone from my buddy at work, and we just did it in the corner of the house, at night. And I was like, man, you know what? I'm gonna just do it, and I'm gonna release it and see what happens. And I've, I've been blessed that people reacted to it the way they did, because like immediately, people were writing me and hitting me up about it, and asking me about the show. And I remember sitting there like man, uh, I expected stuff like that to happen maybe a year down the line, months down the line, and it was
yeah.
like literally that next day people were hitting me up, and I'm like, oh man, this is crazy, But I have to stay consistent. That's one thing everybody always tells me, consistency, consistency.
Mm. Yeah, I think
But
it's
I love it.
difficult. But, I mean, we found like, I don't know if it's the same with you guys that when it comes to like people subscribing and you're trying to build the channel. I mean, it's probably about 90% of the people watching our videos aren't subscribed. So I've heard that that's the same for even bigger channels with hundreds of thousands of people. So there is that
Yeah.
difficulty sometimes. And how are you finding guests at the moment? Well, like for us, we are approaching a lot of people and asking them to come on. Are
Yeah.
you still doing that, or are you having people,
Oh
say
yeah.
that they'd like to
Yeah,
join you?
definitely.
You're still having to go out and get them at the moment, are you?
Yeah. I've had a few people reach out to me. Two of them are gonna be on season two, coming out here shortly. And one of them, he's Bo Rasta. He's from South Africa, and he's an archaeologist. And he had he did an awesome job. He has a slideshow, PowerPoint, everything. It's gonna be pretty cool. I think that one I'm releasing probably this Friday. But yeah, I mean, I still have to reach out to people. You know, like a lot of people don't understand. It's it's not that easy to get some of these guests. For I've been rejected. I've had people tell me no. I've had people tell me they don't do interviews. But I've also been lucky to get the people that I have got because man, they were showstoppers.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I really get that sense, and also the sense from you guys, that you're really thinking about the way you present things, about the music. It seems you're very close to that. Maybe actually touch on that
Yeah.
because I know that Gary's background is very much with different types of playing, with different types of music and creating things. What's your sort
Okay.
of musical inspiration and background?
I was actually whenever I was little, of course I was in the choir. I was in band, first chair section section leader. I played the tuba. And whenever I was 15, I actually started doing rap music. And everything, I produced everything myself. And we did a bunch of shows, documentaries. We actually came on the radio a few times, and it was pretty cool. And I never stopped messing with music. The introduction and all that, that's uh, the beats. I made the beats. I rapped the song on the intro and all that. I wanted the main thing for that also, aside from my passion for music, was I wanted everything to be original. I didn't want
Yeah,
to like steal anybody's stuff or anything like that. I wanted all um I wanted to have a certain vibe. When people listen to the show, they're like, oh man, I like this. And then slide them into the interview.
Mm.
But yeah, music's always been a passion of mine. I still do mess with it. I make beats all the time, and I still do write.
Mm.
yeah. It's just because Gary obviously was involved in some of the sort of musical aspects of what we're doing and what we will hopefully go on to do. And I know Gary, you can pick up on that, but there's some crossovers there about
There
this
are.
lovely thing
Yeah.
Tony just touched on about the vibe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if me and Casper went to school together. I don't know if Casper remembers that I got forced to play the tuba. So and yeah, our school was at the top of a quite a steep hill, and I was only a little lad, and I had to carry this thing up and down the hill. Um,
Oh man.
so I don't have fond memories of the tuba, but but then, funnily enough, where I did start going into was rap and hip hop, and I ended up doing a lot of DJing and sort of break beats. And I okay, they're in the loft, but I still have my techniques. I, I kept them safe. So and I guess I don't know. It's been some decades since I've touched them. I assume it's like riding a bike, but I don't know. Maybe I can one day dig them out and have another go. But yeah, when it came to our channel, we had that thing as well, wanting to be unique as much as we could, and you're starting out and you think, well, what can we pull together with the skills we've got? I was lucky enough to have had a friend that had done some music, and that's what's on the show now. He was kind enough to say, yeah, just use whatever you want. So, well, great, we've got some original music. And but now, taking that step further, I started working on something else that I might replace that with, so that then
Yeah.
it really does become, signature for us. And I think you said before we came on that you was going to look at, upgrading your introduction as well. So is
Yeah.
that you can make that a little flashier still?
Mary has a buddy he's I think the video producer for ABC 13 here in Houston. and he made us a video intro. Actually, the last episode that we just dropped, calling out hybrids, the opening video, that's gonna be our official new intro. I'm still gonna keep the music in there, like right after that plays, and then it's gonna taper into the episode. But yeah, I definitely want to start doing more videos.
Yeah, I think the key thing for all of us, and probably why we like your material so much as well, Tony, is that we're all trying the best we can not to get in the way of our own authenticity. So it is
Yeah,
that word signature that Gary used was a good word as well. But yeah, I think it's this thing of being authentic. And I think that might mean that all of us have to work a bit harder and take a bit longer to build our channels and build our reach. But that when we
yeah,
do, people know that from the outset it was authentic. And I think that that will carry us all much more forward. Now, just a quick question to you, because we have people from all different ranges of sort of backgrounds and covering different topics and coming to things at different levels, you know, whether you're talking about 5D, 6D, 7D, all these dimensions and so on. And the way that people come to us now, it could be from any angle. And obviously you guys particularly have that ability now to go out and find people and work with people who are coming at things from very different levels. Some may be more about the military side of things, some may be more about the
yeah,
different creatures that exist out there, some about ghosts, and all of these. You've got this real beautiful mix of all these different things. Is there stuff that you're
yeah.
particularly seeking to bring in, or are you just going to let it sort of organically create itself?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna just let it create itself. I mean, going in, I definitely had a vision of the kind of guests that I wanted to bring on, and it's crazy that it literally manifested that because I remember when I started, I was like, man, I wanna have people coming on that maybe used to work for the CIA, Black
Yeah.
Ops, archaeologists, writers, all that stuff, and I've literally had those people on the show now, so it's just kind of cool how it came together. But yeah, definitely moving forward, I'm just let it just let it happen.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah. And I think
I'm having a lot of fun.
you're obviously having fun. You're putting out some longer videos as well. You know, you've got a lot of content already coming out, and you definitely are willing to touch on any topic, which we are as well. Are you worried about the platforms that you can go out on, and whether you might have trouble with being on some of them, or are you just going to be like, look, we'll just go for it and see what happens?
Yeah, I'm just gonna see what happens. I have trust in the universe that it's gonna guide me and put me where I need to be.
Yeah. Are you only on YouTube at the minute?
I do have a YouTube. When I first started, it was just strictly Spotify, and then we did our first interview, video interview with Stephen D. Kelly. He's the ex CIA dude,
Yeah, I'll
and
watch that one. Yeah,
yeah, that one's pretty crazy. And so after that, I was like, you know what? I was like, I need to transition into videos, and so I started uploading this stuff to YouTube, and that's also why I want to do the new video intro because moving forward, I know a lot of people want to see video, and like when I first started, I didn't think that doing video interviews was something that I'd be doing until later on down the line. But I mean, it's what the people want. So
yeah. I must say, I enjoyed just listening to some of your stuff. I thought it's great because you can be doing something else. You don't have to be distracted by thinking, "Oh, do I need to look at
yeah,
something?" Or is that so? That was good. But also, what the moment you started doing the videos, it just brings that other dimension to things. You know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I know even with I don't know if you saw the episode with Parsi, and he whenever we released our first video episode, he reached out to me and he was like, "Man, it's so good to put a face to the voice and this
Yeah,
and that."
yeah, yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
so I
yeah,
understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
yeah. What is your background? Are you from a sort of Latino family in Houston?
Yeah, yes, Latin family, all of us born and raised here in Texas,
Right,
actually at the very bottom of Texas, in a place called Harlingen, and
right.
it's right at the at the tip. But I mean, we've all branched out to Laredo, Austin, San Antonio, of course, Houston. Everybody is pretty much right here in Houston. But yeah, Latin background.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because I like that. It just brings this other sort of dynamic to it, and also that sort of hip hop thing as well. It just
Yeah.
automatically makes the whole thing even more cool. I like your content anyway, but it's just I don't know. All of these infusion of different types of things and different elements, they all create something really interesting and authentic. So I get a lot out of your stuff. Do you have to sort of agree with or be on the same wavelength as your guests, or are you willing to have people come on and talk about things that actually maybe aren't you don't think are true or real or whatever? How much do you have to gel with your guests to have a good show, do you think?
I mean, really, really, really not much. I mean, I let them come on and talk about whatever they want, well, stuff pertaining to our community. You know, I'm definitely not going to sit there and like second guess what they're saying. Like, no, I don't think that's true. I mean, if they're saying it in the way that the people that have came on, the way they've talked about this stuff, they have so much passion backing it up, and some of them you could tell with their experiences, like it really hurt them,
Yeah.
and just stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I could tell they're genuine about it. But
And
yeah, I
does
definitely
part
don't
of
want
that,
people coming on. Oh, go ahead.
Tony, does part of that come back also to the fact that you've had certain experiences and maybe had that feeling of whether or not you should share things or shouldn't, or maybe you've had people sort of not believe you or whatever? What are your own? Are there things in your own background that make you feel more willing to be open, like we are as well, to slightly more fringe, well, very more fringe stuff? Uh,
I mean, just with the paranormal experiences that I've had, again, going back to the Whisper Lady, she's somebody that visits me all the time, and it's not, they're not fun visits, and then also, I mean, there's times where I've been able to astral project. I've only been able to do it twice, but I,
right.
but I remember I remember clearly when it happened, and and also, I mean, I don't want guests to come on the show and feel like they're being criticized by me,
Yeah. Yeah.
because then to me it's like that's why a lot of these people are scared to come out and talk about these things and to tell their stories, so I want them to feel safe when they come on here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally get that, and it definitely has that vibe. I listened very intently to that fairly long recording that you had with the guys who were to do with sort of ghost busting, so to speak, and going out and
Oh
doing.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was incredible. I mean, I'm just glad that you're. Whether people want to believe, not believe, whatever, that's entirely up to our audiences what they want to take from it, and we're not condoning or not condoning people. We're just giving them that platform. But I think the fact that you get people on who are just willing, and I hope we do as well, just to be so open. I really enjoyed that. They obviously felt comfortable enough to share some really
Yeah.
fantastic stories, actually.
Yeah, that one was a crazy episode. um Man, that episode actually messed with me for like a couple weeks after that, like whenever I was
Yeah,
trying
I
to go
can
to sleep
believe
and
that.
stuff, flipping on the light is like, man, and they're actually coming back on for season 2 to finish out telling some of their stories. I believe we have them scheduled probably in 2 weeks
Right.
to record. So that's gonna be pretty cool. They've been doing a lot since then.
Yeah, yeah. Well, probably the other great thing is that the more you're giving this platform, and hopefully the way we do as well, the more these people bounce around and start to do other things and feel more comfortable, and the more these other areas, outside of the normal or the mainstream, they just get more light shone on them. And I think whatever people think about them, there's no denying they're really interesting. It's much more interesting
Yeah,
than just turning on television and watching the normal stuff.
yeah, yeah. I mean, all my life I've always been into stuff like this, especially like sci-fi and all that. I mean, a Star Trek collection right here in the back, and
Yeah.
it's like I always tell people, they're like, "What do you like watching?" I'm like, that had to have spaceships, aliens, some sort of time travel. I like the fringe. I like the sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And what about any other experiences that, given that you're on with us today and you can actually talk a bit more about yourself, are there any experiences that you've had either years ago as a child or more recently that that you can share with us or with our audience?
So I know whenever I talked about the Whisper Lady, um, I had sleep paralysis whenever it first started happening.
Right,
So there was another time that I had got sleep paralysis whenever I was a little kid, and we had bunk beds. I was on top of the bunk bed, and I just so happened uh to wake up. Well, at first I was dreaming, and it was like way back in the like George Washington era, you know, where they had the wigs and all that stuff. And and there was this lady in the kitchen, and she was, you know, making out with this dude, and I'm kind of watching it from like aerial view, and then I guess her husband was in the other room. He walks in, and I remember him walking in through the like those old school double doors, and he walks in and catches them in the act, and he starts like beating on her and stuff like that. And whenever that happened, I woke up, and but I was froze. I couldn't move. I couldn't turn my head to the left or to the right, but I could still hear them fighting, and I could hear like the pots and the pans falling and all that stuff. And and eventually, I was able to yell, and I was like, "Mom," and then I got up and I looked at the window, and there was a freaking it was like a demonic figure just standing there. Like all I could see was the shadow and the horns, and it was just staring out the window, and I got stuck. I froze again. And man, that's really whenever the sleep paralysis started. And shortly after that, that's whenever I started seeing the Whisper Lady. And she would come and visit me all the time in my dreams. And every time, sleep paralysis, I can't move, and she's coming just whispering stuff in my ear. And then like I said in the episode, um here recently, I had a dream of her where I I was walking in the cafeteria at my old school, and random people were coming up to me, and those clothespins, they were just randomly coming up to me, grabbing my arm and sticking them, in my arm. And then another person would come and stick one in my arm. And then finally, it led to her coming up to me. And she stuck one in my arm. And whenever she did that, I woke up. But I mean, yeah, I see her all the time. And they're not pleasant experiences. I don't know what she wants. I don't know who she is or why she's bothering me, but she won't stop.
mm, mm. So it feels like the door has been opened somewhat to that from those
Yeah,
previous sort of almost remote viewing type out of body experiences that
yeah.
you had going back in time. Well, look, Tony, I know that we always run out of time so quickly on these, and I'd love to go into that. So if you ever feel like coming back and sharing more about your own story and things like that, and maybe we can actually work through them together, and maybe our own intuition will bring up some resolutions and some solutions. I just want to put
Oh
that
yeah,
out there. We'd love
yeah.
to have you back.
Sure, I would love that.
Okay, cool.
Brilliant.
So we've only got a few minutes left now, Tony. Maybe have you got any advice for anyone that might want to start their own podcast and things? So obviously you
Um,
recommend it, I guess. So
so so what I would recommend to someone trying to start a podcast. So what I would recommend is just to be yourself. Don't try to be in anything else. I heard somebody ask that to Jimmy Church, and what he said like really resonated with me. He said, just okay. So whenever I did my first episode, I listened to it, and it's like, it doesn't sound like me. It sounds like I'm trying to be like a reporter or something like that. And the way Jimmy said is, like when people come over, the way you are with the people, it's how you should be. Like whenever you're doing all these interviews and episodes, just be yourself. And also, if you're gonna start it, don't hesitate. Just go all in, because I promise you, you're not gonna regret it. I've had so much fun doing this, and I'm really looking forward to what the show's gonna turn out to be.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, look, every best wishes for the new series and everything you're doing and all the new elements you're bringing to it. And as I said, we'd welcome you back as soon as you possibly have the time. And I think it's been really refreshing having somebody on that's had the same or a very similar journey to ourselves. So despite we're in the UK, you're in the States, and it's just great that we can come together like this. So Tony, thank you very much for taking the time to join.
Now, thank you guys for inviting me.
Pleasure. Okay, have a great one. See you soon, I hope.
All right, guys.
Bye now.